The bright side of 2024. Here are some reasons to celebrate this past year. And hello, welcome 2025.
Let's mix it up today on the WBNL Wander But Not Lost podcast.
Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Welcome, everyone, to the WBNL Wander But Not Lost podcast. Together we align, connect, and prosper. This is episode 322, and you can find all those show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Jen O'Brien, here we've made it to the last day of the year. Woohoo!
Happy
There's
New
a lot
Year,
of people
Matt.
that are ready to say goodbye to 2024.
Yeah, and it's New Year's Eve, so we're excited, and we're excited that we get to record a podcast for you. Where we always do a little recap, right? But we thought we would do it with a twist this year, right?
Absolutely. You know, all of our podcasts the last few weeks about putting a little twist, a little spin on so it's not the same old. We're definitely going to do that today.
And that's going to be the theme in the new year. Making it creative, keeping it simple, keeping it valuable content, and having fun along the way. Enjoying the journey.
I love that, Jen O'Brien. Okay. And speaking of having fun, since it is New Year's Eve, and we did get some positive comments on our little happy hour podcast a couple of weeks ago, we decided we better end the year with a little bit of bubbly.
A little toast.
I'm having a little Moet.
A little one. I didn't know you could get one smaller. But,
this is actually the mini Moet. Very good.
And I have the, how do you say this one? This is one, I love this one.
That is Veuve Clicquot. It's my favorite too. I love that champagne. It's fantastic. So yeah, we had to have a little bit of mini, there's a lot more champagning will be happening as this day goes on. So we had to kind of,
all right, here we go. I'm opening it. I always worry it's going to blow big time. Here we go.
Ah! No poppy pop. Ta-ta-da.
All right.
Oh, smells like New Year's already.
Ooh, it's just so beautiful.
Very
All
pretty.
Right.
Very pretty. Very. Get the little bubbles. Jen O'Brien, a little toast.
What are we toasting to, Matt?
Cheers, Jen O'Brien. This has been a fun year. I'm looking forward to 2025 because you know what it's going to be. Our best
year ever.
That's right.
Come over here and click my glass.
How do we? Wait, I
there.
can't get. There we
Click.
go. Clink.
Okay. Clink. Ooh. Oh.
I like that. That Veuve Clicquot is delicious because it's nice and dry.
Ooh, it's very nice. Very bubbly.
Yeah,
all right. So
already relaxing.
I know. So let's go through. We're going to, as we said, we're going to do a twist. We usually cover all the top stories and we Google it. And now, of course, we have our friendly AI, Geo, or Alfred, depending on who's ever doing the research. But we're we don't want to talk about all the natural disasters and all the political upheaval around the whole globe. I mean, the major elections, all kinds of things happening. And it's just, frankly, what I feel has been happening. It's been a year of, and it's definitely getting that way, of chaos and uncertainty. That's creating a whole sense of fear and in a lot of people. And we're going to go through some things today, and I'm going to end with how I'm not falling victim to the sensationalism, because I think that's part of the game plan, if you want my opinion. So what would you say? Chaos, uncertainty, I mean, polarization, not just here in the United States, not this duality and, it's red, blue, black, white, green, yellow, meaning you're on one side or the other. I mean, we've seen that really rise to the top this year, which causes a lot of the issues with people, right?
Yeah. That's where all the angst and anxiety starts coming into the picture here. And we've really been focusing we always have, but the last few months really focusing on, being self-aware and being able to help yourself get through some of the things that are, kind of binding you up right now. And a lot of this is all this stuff that's been going on this year. So,
and I honestly feel you have a choice, at the end we'll finish with that, because we have been hitting on how do you get rid of all that stuff that kind of holds you back so that you can open up and bring the good stuff in. So we're going to share some good stuff. We don't want to focus on the negatives. We know there were natural disasters. We know there was upheaval and political shifts all through wherever. But there were good news things. And we're going to hit on the ones that we thought were our favorite. There's definitely been major innovation in technology, breakthroughs on the medical front, renewable energy, And obviously the AI is in every part of our life. And I remember a year ago, not in 2024, but in 2023, when OpenAI started the ChatGPT, I was all in. But oh my gosh, just that one has come leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
let alone
it's amazing.
Google just announced this new quantum chip, and just wild stuff is happening at the speed of light almost, it feels like, which is this other theme I feel has been in 2024. And I think it's going to continue, which is this acceleration. And I think everything seems to be faster, specifically the tech side.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that are happening, it's in everything. You can't avoid it. We've been talking about how we embrace it, and I think there's just going to be more to come. But it's either causing people to have more anxiety and feel left behind if you don't jump on board, because things are going to change, jobs, industries. Yep. We were just talking the other day about, Matt and I think within 5 years, real estate industry is completely different than it is today. And we already had major change in 2024. So it can either leave you really struggling to keep up or energized. I personally love it. I think it's energizing, and I want to focus on the good stories and the positives, right? So that's
and I think that's really the key. And we'll jump into some of these the stories that we have kind of found over the last few days, kind of researching for the show. Because the thing is, the media and people love drama, and they love talk about the bad stuff, right? So there's a lot of the stuff that happens around us that is positive. Is you really have to search for it sometimes.
You do, don't you?
Yeah.
You got to find an outlet or train remember we talked about training your algorithm. So if you start to watch any of the sensational stories and the negative news, you'll see more on whatever your platform or choice is. I have to remember that. And we talked about that one time about it being like a program, your own program. You continue to see what you think about. So don't look at those things if you don't want to. Start looking at some of the things we're going to talk about today, or follow content creators that you trust, and you like the stories, or you like the good news, or you're getting inspired or educated. That's what I'm doing. And that's what keeps me going just about every day, because I love following certain creators that I want to learn from.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into some of those stories. One of them, this first one, I love, Jen O'Brien, because it's right up our whole wandering thing. That's
who we are.
Yeah, national parks set new attendance records this year, and really ever since COVID. That one great byproduct of COVID has been people were forced to get out and about a little bit more than they ever had been in the past. And the national parks had a huge surge of attendance, on the kind of the post-COVID years, and that has continued to happen. So national parks saw a great attendance increase this last year. Specifically, the three that really stood out were Yosemite. What were the other ones? Yellowstone and the Great Smoky Mountains. As far as that goes, the day passes, they have, free park days. Like most major holidays are free to get into the parks. There's no entry fee. And there's other days across the year. Those have been really, really popular. They've been doing some more digital stuff. So there's been some electronic deals that have been going on, trying to get people to get to the national parks, which has been fantastic. And there's been, at least there was in the last few years, some additional monies being funneled to the national parks to make sure that the infrastructure was being better, and the trails have been kept up, and there was new signage and stuff like that. So, we haven't been doing as much national parking as we have done in the past, but we did get to Kings Canyon a couple of times this year, and you can tell that there has been just a new look and a new eyeball, and just kind of some revitalization in the park itself. So it's super exciting, and I love it that people are out there discovering what really is America's best idea, those national parks.
Absolutely. And I sadly did not get to a national park. I got to some state parks. So getting to some national parks is on my list for 2025.
Very good.
So number 2 good news, positive 2024 story is, I'm so happy to report that humpback whale populations are thriving again. The whale sightings along the West Coast definitely reached record highs in this past year. Have you been on one of those before? It's amazing. I've never seen a whale up close like that, but I've gone whale watching. Have you?
Yeah, I've gone whale watching, but not like out in a boat going out there. We always just but because the whales, they migrate down right through, outside of Southern California. Sure. So every time, so it's awesome to see that. So yeah, I've never seen one like right on, like being.
I know that's a bucket list thing for me.
Yeah,
I think they're just majestic and incredible, and it's something I want to do. So scientists celebrated a decade of recovery for several marine species, including the humpback whale. So that's good news. And even some marine conservation laws and reduced ship traffic contributed to cleaner waters, probably maybe where they migrate. There's definitely lanes that the whales for sure migrate every season, right? So that's a good story. Humpback whales. What else did we get?
Absolutely. And back on the land, we have some more good news from, as far as nature goes and wildlife. The return of the American bison. Over 5,000 bison were reintroduced to Native American lands over the last year or so. And the population has really come back. And this is the great story about the bison. Not only is it just fantastic that they're back in huge numbers, but everything and everybody has their place, right? And all the animals, because by having the bison back on the grasslands, they're able to, they're doing their thing. They're helping the whole ecological, system by having them back grazing on those lands too. So,
I love it.
Reintroducing them back into the wild and into the environment is actually just having global effects as well. So, that's the thing we need to always remember about wildlife and about all of the ecosystem is one thing, helps build on the other. And you need the whole thing to be running like clockwork in order for it to,
Matt, I say we toast the American bison, and we're going to toast every one of these positive stories. So here's to the American bison.
Ching ching.
Cheers. And I did enjoy seeing them at my first ever time to Yellowstone several years ago. It was quite
they're
amazing.
Amazing animals. Yeah. Amazing.
All right, so number 4, this one is great. Small town revitalization projects boom. Couple examples. Downtown revitalization in cities like Greenville, South Carolina, Chattanooga, Tennessee, brought new businesses and community hubs. Federal grants funded infrastructure improvements like parks, local art installations. So tourism increased in cities like that because people sought out that whole charming small town experience, right? Don't you love when you're traveling, like just cross country? You want to go see, I know you all, I don't want to go on the freeways. Like it's the Route 66 style and stop and see interesting things that are across America, right?
Absolutely. It's exciting.
All right. So to small town revitalization.
To revitalization.
Clink.
Woohoo! Speaking of small towns, not just small towns, but this happens there as well. The literacy rates have really risen in the last year as well. There's been a lot of focus and a lot of special programs that have been put out there to make sure that kids are getting introduced into reading and getting the tutoring and the people, the help they need to make sure that they're jumping on and getting into the system there. There's a program called Rise to Read, which really helped by donating over books to over 1 million children, which is just huge, right? Putting books in hands of these of kids so they can start working their brains at a younger age. I think that the literacy rate went up almost 15% thanks to teachers and training and support and all of that. And, libraries and other nonprofit groups have partnered to do like special programs, like after school reading programs and things like that. So, you gotta educate your young people, right? Get them going on the right path. And that way, we're going to have a stronger group of people coming up and, everyone wins. Everyone wins when you start reading early. So that's exciting. So, hey, Here's to
student literacy rising. Okay.
That's positive news.
It's a good thing we're taking baby sips. Okay.
Exactly.
The next one is awesome. Record-breaking community service hours. Over 5 billion hours of volunteer work was logged across the country. Everything from food drives to community cleanups to all these disaster relief efforts that we had a ton of that this year. But you see the good news and the people rise to come together, from celebrities to just regular folks. That's pretty amazing, Matt. 5 billion hours of volunteer work.
It's really huge.
So let's get involved. And here's to more volunteerism.
I love it.
In 2025. Cheers.
That's awesome. And, it's kind of piggybacking the story that I just said about literacy. Libraries are making a comeback. There's more attendance at the libraries in this last year than there have been in a long time. And libraries also I think libraries have been an institution that hasn't really experienced a lot of change over the last, over the last decade or two. But they're starting to introduce digital lending programs where, it's not just the hard book, but it's also, in the digital formats as well, which is fantastic. fantastic, right? So we go to our public library a lot. We donate books there.
Do you?
Yeah, because we have a trillion books in our house, and every once in a while we do the little purge, and we take stuff down to the library. Our library that's near our house is really active. A lot of great reading programs, after school programs, once again for kids to get down there and read. It's really exciting. So
I'm happy to hear this story because I was feeling in the years in the past that they were going to be a thing of the past.
Right.
So maybe they've adjusted, and it's a place for people to go. It's sort of like, a public place that you can just go and read and enjoy, and maybe have some other things. So I think that's great, especially for people that can't go buy books. Maybe they don't have a budget for that.
It's becoming kind of a community hub for people, right? So you can go in and do your thing, and it's a safe place to go. So it's
now this next one I think is something we'll maybe continue to see, and I've been really interested in looking into this. The rise of urban farming. Now, obviously, if you live in a rural area where maybe you do have room to grow your own vegetables and fruits and such, when we grew up, we had like about a half acre, maybe smaller than that, but we always had corn and cucumbers and tomatoes, and my parents were really into it, and they taught us how to do that, and I miss that. But from cities like Chicago to LA, they've expanded urban farms, and there are all kinds of programs where you can go in and you can like rent or lease a spot where, you might not be able to do it in your own home, or you live in a condo or something, but we'll come back to that because there's all those cool things that you can get that are those self-enclosed. I forget what the word is. You know what I'm trying to say, that you're able to grow lettuce and stuff in your house.
Oh yeah.
Well,
and a lot of without even dirt. There's all kinds of
without dirt. It's like water, but you have to have light source. And so, but I think it's powerful, especially with the cost of food. But what about growing your own stuff? So you could do it with some of those hydropods. That's what I think I'm trying to say. Even people sell the seeds and all that now. I see that online a lot. Obviously, if you have land, you can do this, and I know a lot of people do. But if you're in the urban areas, you can do it either inside using these new finagled things that you can do to kind of like that grows itself. You just have to maybe keep the lights on. But I have been to a couple of those. I know some people who've got an area, and it becomes a community thing. So you go to some area and you have like a plot of space that you can grow your own stuff, like a co-op kind of thing.
We have one right here in Anaheim Hills, right next to the library. You can walk to it from where we live. And I haven't been down there in a while. It shut down around COVID, but I'm not sure if they open it back up again. But it was so cool. It was just your little urban area garden. I'm going to tell you something. If you haven't had a tomato from a garden ever, or if you haven't had one recently, you got to find someone who's growing tomatoes, or you need to grow tomatoes yourself, because you know what they taste like? They taste like tomatoes.
Yeah, you know what? You're so right about that. I hardly want to buy. I buy organic, but I go to farmers markets and stuff because they're tasteless. A lot of the vegetables that are in our stores are, I don't even know if they have any nutrients left in them. They put so much on it to get them to market. So I think this is a trend that's going to continue, and I want to look into it. And I don't think we toasted public libraries, so we need to do that. Here's the public libraries.
The libraries.
And for the rise of urban farming.
Well, last thing we want to hit on is just a little bit about affordable housing initiatives. And Jen, you probably can speak to this better than I, because you're out running around a little bit more in Vegas when you're showing homes and things. But there's been a bigger focus in the last few years focusing on lower income housing, getting lower income housing, built as part of, master plan communities and whatnot too. So, all that's on the rise, and it has to be. Jen and I were talking about it, as we were getting ready for the podcast. Maybe it was last week or this week earlier. I'm not sure when it was. Just at some point, with the population increasing as it is, and the housing situation just being what it is right now, there is going to be a breaking point along the line somewhere here, because it's not keeping up. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens with all that. And I think, obviously there are a lot of great minds thinking about how that's going to be handled, but it's going to be an interesting road. And once again, all of this kind of stuff is going to be happening so much faster. So I really, over the next couple of years, we're going to see we're going to get a better idea of what the direction of housing is going to be, I think. Don't you, Jan?
There is a company out here where you can get these. They're not like modular. They're basically these kind of tiny houses that you can buy, and you just pop them up and set them up So that kind of a modular, don't think manufactured home like a mobile.
Right.
But definitely some interesting things going on with 3D printing of homes. Isn't that wild? So
Yeah.
I really think that it's interesting. I think people can adapt as they move forward and into, you don't need as much space as you think you need.
No.
And it becomes this downsizing of the bigger space you have, the more stuff you collect. I've definitely gone through that in my life where you downsize and you can get used to, being a little bit more minimalist, know?
Yeah.
So that's a real intriguing thing. And I think that we're going to see more of that roll out, into the future as well, because house prices are just going to continue to skyrocket. The cost of labor and wood, everything from wood to all the other supplies and stuff are already off the charts, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with all of that. So those are probably our highlights of what we like most. There were tons more stories, lots of stories on community outreach and people doing great things and just positive stories that don't always make the news cycle. So, we want to really maybe close, Matt, with, getting people to maybe share, did something inspire you? Talk to us, man. Comment in we're getting some more comments on our YouTube channel and we love that. So not everybody's always awesome, but that's okay too. We love any comment, big or small, positive or negative. And sometimes they're just spammy, right? There's people out there trying to do whatever, but we accept everyone in the way they are. Absolutely. But I feel that the key moving forward is I think we're going to move into 2025 with some more of chaos, more of things starting to come to the surface. I think some more truths and realities are coming up. I think we're in this very interesting tipping point in our reality, our humanity across the globe of things aren't going to be how they always were. I think there's a couple themes that I personally feel, because I hang around people who don't focus on all the negatives and they're not continuing to watch, whatever their channel of choice is. I feel like people are starting to go, I don't know if I trust that. I don't know if I can trust that channel anymore. I don't know where I can get the right information. And, because it's all being manipulated on some level, but it's been like this forever in our culture that negative stuff sells more. So they need to sell, advertise. I don't care what, if we're talking TV, news, whatever, we're all trying to get away from that and watch, think about the rise of streaming. What's annoying to me? Now you're paying for streaming and now there's ads back in streaming, unless you go to the next level of streaming.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people are just going to start saying, I'm not going to watch that anymore. I'm going to start doing what I want to do, or I'm going to read more, or I'm going to get out in nature more. And so I really think that we're in a bit of a cultural or a revolution of humanity across the globe, where people are like, I was using that, what's that dude's name that was in the Network, the 1970s movie? Can't think of his name. I think it was William Powell. That's who it is. And he was the news anchor. And I just keep getting this in my head whenever I talk about people are waking up. Stuff is coming to the surface. I think things are going to break down and people are going to go, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take this anymore. It's already happening. So if that's you, then go find other people that you can build your own tribe and community with. And when you start to wake up a little bit and you focus on the positives and how you can take care of yourself on all levels, emotionally, spiritually, physically, how you eat, then you start feeling better and you have more energy, and you'll start noticing people around you that want to stay in the negative, lower vibration space, but it doesn't work for you anymore. So it's really interesting how that starts to happen. So you have a choice. You can plug into all the negative news and see how you feel every day. And you wonder, why don't I feel well? Why do I feel anxiety and depressed? And maybe it's because of what you're allowing into your body and into your ears and your brain, because we can get addicted to all that kind of stuff. So I think 2025, I'm focused on more people waking up and taking care of themselves and seeking out other people who are like-minded, and we see where we go. Because I think it's a turning point. We're a little rebellion, a little revolution. Maybe it's time for that. What do you think, Matthew?
Oh, no, I agree 100%. I mean, I think I just getting back to what I said a little while ago, I think a lot of the focus that I'm going to be having going into next year and throughout next year really is just checking in with myself a little bit more than I have in the past, and really make sure that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that I am grounded where I, you know, and going in the direction that I want to be going in, right? And that I'll be better able to serve others, you know what I mean, if I am
Totally.
on the right path myself. And that's really what I want to do.
And you just hit the main thing, staying grounded. And that is a key. And the easiest way to stay grounded is to be present. The easiest way to get present and be in the moment and not be worried about the future or what's going to happen or all the news articles you're reading or the headlines, and not be in the past where you're worried about whatever might have happened in your past. That's what happens to us, right? Our ego mind will take us to one of those two locations, past or future, so we're not in the present. So be here now. Easiest way to do it is to focus on your breath. So breathing, breath work, taking those moments, using your Apple Watch or something that'll stop you to do a pause. Grounded, go out in nature. Sometimes I just get up in the morning and I go barefoot out into the grass that's right in my area.
Yeah.
So you can ground with the earth. It's amazing what it can do energetically to you. So those are the things. Meditate, better stuff that goes in. Decide to listen to more powerful podcasts or books or something that are going to uplift you instead of what's the latest story that's got everybody, you know. And then it changes so often. All the media does is look for the next sensational thing to tell you.
And it's there.
Kind of keep you in fear. And it's there if you want it. I choose love, not fear. That's how I'm going to end it today. I choose love and being awake and light and positivity. That's what I'm going to be about in the new year.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to going on that journey with you, Jan O'Brien. The next year is going to be a fantastic year. We're going to continue what we've been doing here at WBNL Coaching. We're going to be focusing a lot more on the mindset piece of it, which is awesome. Jan's going to literally, have her neck have what is that? You're going to ricochet your head.
I don't know, but I love this little thing right here.
It's very cool.
It's going to be our best year ever. I hope it's your best year ever. I'm excited about what 2025 is going to bring on all levels. So,
hey, Jan O'Brien, are you going to be Anderson and Andying this evening, watching them on in Times Square?
Oh yes, I definitely am not going out anywhere in Las Vegas. I'll watch it quietly from the comfort of my own living room couch. Yes.
I love it. All right, everyone. This has been a nice little quick, fun little episode. And I like this whole twist on focusing on some positive stuff as opposed to how many earthquakes there were in 2020.
Yeah, and fires, and hurricanes, and tornadoes.
I love it. So, Jan O'Brien, here's to you, Jan O'Brien. Here's to all of you out there listening. And, have a safe evening. Please be safe and
Cheers.
safe. Don't do anything crazy. We'll do things crazy, but just be safe with your
But be safe.
Cheers to you.
And we'll see you in 2025.
We will see you in 2025.